This is Anarchast.
Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I have with us coming in from Cambridge, Massachusetts, Megan Duffield. She's the marketing person, the Poobah director, I'm not sure exact title, for upcoming movie that I'm really excited about called The Silver Circle. And she's coming in today and she's Anarchist, so welcome to the show, Megan.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Happy to be here.
Glad to have you. And the first question I always ask all our first-time guests is, how did you become an anarchist?
And actually, to be honest, I've never had anyone ask me that before because I usually tout the libertarian title at most of the places I am. However, I have been to, I don't know if you've heard about it, the Porcupine Freedom Festival in New Hampshire for the past 3 years. And I went into it as a liberty-loving individual, which happened back in 2007 when I discovered the ideas of Ron Paul and discovered what was happening in terms of the central banking system of the United States, and just became very educated on the trials and tribulations that we were going through and why we were going through them. So I learned about this Porcupine Freedom Festival up in New Hampshire and decided to attend. Went by myself, pitched a tent, and just met like-minded people. And by the end of that festival, I had went in as a libertarian. By the end of the festival, I came out an anarchist because I was having a conversation with some individuals there, and I was talking about the Constitution and saying, we really need to get back to the Constitution. It, really paved the way for our freedoms, etc. And someone challenged me, much like the way I felt challenged whenever I learned about the Federal Reserve and many of Ron Paul's points back in 2007, and they said, well, what makes the Constitution some source of authority over your freedoms and how you've been able to accomplish and be the person you are today? And I stopped to think about it, and I was like, wow, I think this person's onto something. And from there I discovered that just any form of government or stipulation or anything of the sort over the individual is first and foremost immoral, and on top of it, it's just going to restrict people from becoming the best that they can be, and I guess allowing society to benefit off of all the wonderful things that an individual has to offer.
Yeah, I've never been to Porcupine Fest, but I'm considering going this year. I'm not much of a camper. That's my big...
Well, they have hotels and some nice little cabins for all of you who can't get a little dirt under your fingernails.
Yeah, I'm a city boy. I admit it. I don't even know what to do once I get out in the woods. I totally admit it. And so that's good to know there is hotels there. So maybe I'll go this year. Sounds great. I've been to Libertopia, which was a lot of fun last year in San Diego. Yeah, it's very interesting to meet there's so many different kinds of people involved in these sort of liberty movements. As you mentioned, you showed up as basically a minarchist or a constitutionalist, and you walked away an anarchist. And I think anyone who actually is a rational person will eventually turn to anarchy. I don't see how you can't. I guess the only question outstanding that we always get asked, and it's a valid question, is humanity ready for the world to become governmentless? Can these, we're still basically just monkeys with pants as far as I can tell, especially from the way a lot of people act, and can they actually handle it? And that's really the only outstanding question. But anything beyond that, if you even look into anarchism, it's such a peaceful, just a great ideology or a philosophy, even you yourself, you went thinking that the Constitution was the end-all, be-all, and it's really just a piece of paper drawn up hundreds of years ago by a bunch of guys, and it really has no authority over anyone, really, unless you want it to, and I don't want it to. I don't need a piece of paper to know that I have my own rights that I want to defend against other people, and that sort of a thing. So you got into it through the Ron Paul angle. A lot of people have. He's basically been probably the biggest converter over to our libertarian anarchist side of anyone that I've ever known. Really, he's really changing America for sure, and the world. And have you been following him? Oh, I do know you have been following him, and he actually was showing one of your coins at a recent contest he had with Ben Bernanke in Congress there. Is that correct?
Yes, I about fell out of my chair when that happened, because I wasn't, predetermined at all that he was going to be flashing our silver that day. It was just, I guess, the luck of the draw, or maybe he just carries around the silver round I gave to him about a year ago.
So you had met him about a year ago, and you gave him that silver round?
Yeah, we were at a Ludwig von Mises conference down in Houston, and I had the opportunity to walk up to him and thank him for inspiring a lot of the principles behind the movie Silver Circle, and offered him a coin as a sign, or a round, should I say, as a sign of appreciation. And, he was thrilled. Him and his wife Carol were both standing there, hearing about the movie, etc. But yeah, it was pretty neat to see him do that, especially in front of Ben Bernanke. There was just something wonderful about that.
Yeah, something about showing the devil, the silver, sort of like they do in the movies with Dracula, showing him the silver bullet. That's basically the symbolism I got out of that. And of course, Ben Bernanke's just, don't even get me started talking about him. What an idiot. Especially with his latest. Have you seen his 4-part lecture that he did at some U.S. college? Have you?
Yeah, I have. I've gazed at it a couple times. We've actually been covering it on our blog, just the ridiculousness of it. And I wish some more liberty-minded and anarchist individuals could get some opportunities like that on, universities and colleges around the country. That'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be. I guess Ron Paul's been pulling huge amounts of student followers at many of his rallies lately. I've been paying attention to that. He's been getting thousands and thousands of people out, and of course it's not even followed in the media because, of course, they don't want Ron Paul to be involved or to win the presidency, because that would go against many of the fascist capital or corporatism state that they have in the U.S. today, and would cause a lot of problems for their main line of business, which is mostly just robbing the American public.
Exactly. He scares them.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about the movie Silver Circle. I'm really excited about it. For those that don't know, it's a movie that's basically against the Federal Reserve, and it's this group of people who band up and fight the Federal Reserve. And I don't know too much about it because I haven't seen it yet, because it's not out yet, but I believe you're planning on releasing it maybe for August 15th on the date of the when the U.S. dollar last was linked to gold in 1971. Is that correct?
That's right. It was a clever idea from our end, and we decided, well, it's still a target date. It's nothing solidified at the moment, but we're hopeful to have the movie completed over the summer and have a theatrical release lined up for August. But essentially, we've been working on the movie for the past 2 years, being an independent film as well as being, animation, which involves a lot more technology. It's taken us a while, however, we're working really hard, and the end result is looking really fantastic, and we cannot wait to get this out to our fans who have been so, loyally following us for the past couple years. I think we're boasting over 14,000 fans on Facebook now, which is just going to be great. The theater release, we have a lot of high hopes of getting this message out there, because if all those people bring a friend or a couple family members, that's a huge amount of people that are going to be educated, even if slightly, about the Federal Reserve, the importance of having alternative currency as an option, and just what is happening economically that the news isn't telling you about.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. I think what it does too is it helps just expand the conversation. People need things to point to or to talk about and say, hey, look, I'm not the only person saying this. I'm not crazy. Look, there's a movie in the theaters that's talking about this. I think things like this really go a long way to just expanding the conversation and opening up, because many people are scared to talk about these things. They don't feel like there's enough backing them up. So tell us a little bit more about the plot of the movie, though, because I don't even know the whole plot, but it sounds like it's right up my alley.
Sure. Well, the film begins, it's set in 2019, and a set of houses have been set on fire in a housing development owned by the Federal Reserve. So they've been blown to pieces. And this investigator, whose name is Jay Nelson, has been sent to investigate the crime scene and figure out what has happened. So eventually it leads him down the rabbit hole into a rebel underground. So he starts learning about this rebellion that's happening with these individuals who are coming together and basically trying to defeat the Federal Reserve through some clever tactics that I won't talk about here. But one of their main ways of doing it is by creating their own currency underground and really, throwing some competition in the Federal Reserve's face.
That's excellent. And do you foresee, what do you foresee for the next few years in real terms, in terms of what's going to happen with the Federal Reserve, the US dollar? Do you see it just hyperinflating or dying over the next few years and returning to some sort of gold or silver as money? Or what are you expecting in the next few years?
Well, I'm a little conflicted there because part of me thinks, I'm preparing myself one way or another, and I like to think that, I'm fine either way, so I'm not too concerned. However, for my friends and family members who just won't, you can lead a horse to water, right? So I'm hoping that they can educate themselves a little bit more in case hyperinflation sets in, or even some really severe inflation would be devastating on many people. However, my other side is telling me that the Federal Reserve, I just recently went and saw Paul Volcker speak here at Harvard, which is right across the street from our studio. I went after work one day and got to ask him a question, etc., and talk to this ex-Fed chairman who was supposedly so fiscally responsible. And he admitted during this discussion that no matter what kind of Dodd-Frank bill gets passed, no matter what kind of regulations are passed on the Fed or on these large financial institutions, they're going to be bailed out. It's a trend that has started, and I don't see an end to it anytime soon. These businesses are going to get bailed out, and the elastic currency is going to exist, and I honestly can't tell you when it will wear itself out. But I know for a while they are dead set on just printing whatever kind of money they need. I mean, Alan Greenspan was all for it. Ben Bernanke has no problem with it. So,
well, that's actually the real role of a central bank, is to just create money, print money to give the government so they can do things they otherwise wouldn't be able to do, which is mostly warfare and welfare and all the socialist types of things they try to do. Without being able to actually print money, you couldn't really have wars. There's really been no war in modern history that has the countries involved have actually had a real money currency because people don't really want these wars, and if they get these checks in the mail or bills in the mail every month for their Iraq war, their Afghanistan war, they get pretty tired of it pretty quick. But if they can use inflation to sort of confuse people and basically make it so they don't really know why the prices of things are going up, but they know that they're not paying for these wars or for the socialist security or social welfare system. That's a lot of the ways that the government can really confuse people and shift the blame to other things like capitalism. They always love to shift the blame on capitalism, say it's the greedy corporations, that's why prices are going up, or other countries like the Chinese. And so it's no surprise at all that every central banker in history has printed money. That's just what they're there to do. That's their only job. They don't have no other things they can do. That's really about all they can do. The other thing they can do is control the interest rates, which basically is just another way of being able to print money by making it the lending rates so cheap that more people borrow money, which basically just creates more money. So it's a big scam, it's a big Ponzi scheme, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Silver Circle movies, and I hope the Federal Reserve loses in the end. I have a feeling that they will in the movie, but I don't know for sure. I haven't seen it. But I'm looking forward to it. I know you are still accepting donations for the movie to, I guess it helps you get into more theaters and things like that. You can put out more marketing efforts. Is that correct?
Exactly. I mean, there's several different ways that it can happen, one of which is just sponsoring an actual theater. It will be some sort of collaboration. So our donors and people who are getting involved are going to be benefiting as well. And we're just hoping to get more organizations and individuals involved so we can really make a splash in August.
That's great. And tell people where they can go. What's the website for the Silver Circle?
Sure, you can visit silvercirclemovie.com and find out up-to-date news, our events, watch our official trailer that we just released, and catch up on our comic book, which we are simultaneously publishing with the film later this year.
One of the great new trends, thanks to the internet, is before the internet, we really held hostage by Hollywood and had to watch all their movies and all their themes, and it's almost all pro-government. It's almost every movie is either a war movie where you're really patriotic about your country winning the war, or going to war, or some sort of cop movie where the cop is always the good guy, which is not ever hardly the case in real life. But so they always have the propaganda. So one of the great things about this internet age that we're living in is there's people like yourselves who can create movies which actually show a different story, the actual more truthful story about who the real criminals are, and it is the government and the central banks, and so it's really great. So I really implore people, if you're a believer in freedom, to really support the Silver Circle. Silver Circle.
It's movie. A tongue twister.
Yeah, it is a little bit, but other than that, it's great. And so yes, please go to their website and take a look, and if you can donate some money so that they or host a screening, as Megan said, and get the story out there more. So it's been a real pleasure talking to you, Megan, and maybe we'll talk to you after the movie comes out. I know the producer and director, Pasha, is in New York when I'm there next month, and so I hope to have him on Anarchast as well, and we can talk more about the movie, and I wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck with Dollar Vigilante. I love reading it, so thanks for having me.
Thank you, Megan. And that's all for today, so thanks for joining us. This has been Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Peace, love, and anarchy.